Warm greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's session of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. This session is conducted with the support of Water Resources Council of Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and it is abbreviated as Wiki WRC. It's now in place for nearly 6 years, and we are doing it with collaboration of W4W Foundation and media partner Counterview. My name is Mansi Bal Bhargav, and I'm currently holding the position of National President of the Wiki Water Resource Council and also the founder and director of W4W Foundation. We are glad to do this conversation, namely Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, which we co-equally refer as Blue Lips. The conversation is aimed to share the worries and the wisdom by the woman, for the woman, of the woman in the water sector. In here, we hope to learn about the water endeavors of women in a regular, disciplined manner like a masterclass. Today in this session, we are here to listen more about Dr. Taniya Malik and Dr. Parul Gurjar. Completely two different disciplinary people, and that's the beauty of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, that we bring people from across disciplines and we try to create a fusion out of it. Thank you so much, Taniya and Parul, to agree to do this session. I know I have been stalking all of you to really come on board and let people know that these wonderful women walked the water sector in different ways. But before I invite you to the conversation, a brief outline of your profile, which is not possible to do completely, but just brief. I start with Taniya. Dr. Taniya Malik is an assistant professor of law at the Indian Law Institute, New Delhi, and she conducted her PhD into 2020 from the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi on water security in India, key to India's development. She holds a master's degree in law, LLM, and she's also a qualified UGC, NET, and JRF. Before joining the Indian Law Institute, Dr. Malik taught at several reputed institutions, including Maharaja Surajmal Institute, IIM Rohtak, Teddy School of Advanced Studies, GD Goenka, just to name a few, and University of Delhi and North Cap University. She received her international fellowship from the Hague Academy of International Law, where she attended the summer course in private international law. Her academic work reflects a long engagement with water governance, public policy, and environmental law. And if I have to add here, Taniya, welcome back to our session. You are also our guest speaker at Wednesdays for Water at W4W Foundation. Welcome on this session. Dr. Parul Gurjar, thank you. Dr. Parul Gurjar is an impact-driven environmental scientist and a climate specialist with over 10 years of experience in aquatic biodiversity, conservation, ecosystem health assessment, and climate resilience. With proven expertise in ecological monitoring and stakeholder engagement across government, academic, and international platforms, she is currently associated with SACIWaters as network manager and looking after at the Lake Restoration and Mangrove Alliance projects. She holds a research background in integrating multivariate ecological data into strategic biodiversity framework and digital tools and development integrated river health assessment systems for central Indian rivers with fish assemblage, habitat, substrata, and land use data using multivariate. I'm just naming few of them. She has developed training modules, conducted capacity building programs in the sector of climate risk and opportunities, ESG analysis, climate finance, gender mainstreaming, SDGs, internationally as well as nationally. So here you heard the professional side of it, and at Monday Munching, we are going to shelve most of it and start talking about these two wonderful women, the girls, Taniya and Parul, and I will ask very simple questions and we will probably take the same sequence of responding to make it easy and, compact session. We'll start with Taniya every time and Parul, but if there is something, Parul, please jump in and take it over. You don't have to agree to me with all the questions. You have the choice to disagree. You have the choice to pass the question as well.
Sure.
All set for the game?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for it. Very simple question. I would like to take you back to some years probably of your college life, school life, I don't know, professional life when you started. When you started realizing that your love with water related subject has arrived, It's not the first love maybe, but somewhere in life you may have realized that every work you do is around water sector. I'm not pushing you to be a water specialist, but just because we are focusing on water and I see work of yours around water, you can actually tell your story when you started becoming very passionate about what you do, and there is a bit ounce of water in it. So yes, Tanya, over to you.
Okay, so a wonderful question, Mansi. My engagement with the water sector started somewhere in my LLM journey. So,
Mhm.
I teach federalism at Indian Law Institute. I was myself a student of Indian federalism when I was doing my LLM. So, at that time, we were analyzing, this was one of the class discussions that I had participated in. We were analyzing water issues, interstate water disputes from the perspective of federalism. So that was the very first time I got introduced to the various water related dispute, specifically interstate water disputes that are existing in the country. I went on to submit my assignment on that, and I was lucky enough to get that assignment published in the form of a research paper. So somewhere with my LLM journey, it started.
Mm.
And then moving further on, when I enrolled myself for PhD, I was looking for a niche area wherein, there was scope of research. There was research issues that could be identified. So taking that background forward, I thought, why not, do a PhD on the water laws that are existing in the country. So this is how I picked it up. However, getting my research proposal approved from the doctoral committee of faculty of law was slightly difficult because everyone had an orientation of seeing it as a management subject or
Mm.
something that was more, suitable for hydrologists or from engineering background. So I did face a slight, issues there in getting it approved, but ultimately I was able to get it, approved. And this is how my journey with the water
Interesting.
started with the year 2014 in
Nice.
particular.
And I'm sure you realize that how important judiciary is at this moment if we really want to have water conservation or water, discussion. But we are not doing a professional discussion here. We'll just focus on you as an individual, because the idea of Monday Munching is to really establish a repository of women who are walking the water path or flowing in the water. Parul, when did you realize that you are within with those organisms and everything?
So as Dr. Tanya was mentioning about her, journey, I started in from my graduation time in the year 2008 when I took aquaculture and environment as a subject in graduation, and that's why I realized the importance of water, water management, pond management, and aquatic ecosystem and biodiversity. That was the time I have had an exposure of how these organisms live, what is their importance, and that's how this importance of water management imbibed in me. And that's when I realized the importance of water and decided to move ahead with the same career. I did my master's into it. I also qualified net exam then, and that's how the path was clear for me to do my PhD. And fortunately, having a very fantastic supervisor, as you know, Dr. Vipin Vyas, I did my PhD journey with him and had a lot of exposure during that time. I met a lot of national and internationally recognized scientists. And the topic that I have chosen was river health analysis. The moment that I registered in 2016, it was very difficult and new for me because none of the work under PhD has happened in our country. It was all set for the temperate regions, not for the tropical region. So we somehow converted into the tropical region, and then decided upon how we will be assessing the river health in the central India region, along with river Narmada, the fifth longest river of our country, with its associated tributaries, and had a lot of exposure, just not just in the field of ecology but also socially, how socio-economic development is important, how the fishermen families are getting impacted through it, what is the role of climate change. So a lot of things had happened after that, and I was lucky enough to do that.
Interesting. Now coming slowly to some difficult questions here, both as a woman, as a professional, and you actually, both of you are quite young professionals in my understanding. We have asked this question to even the more very senior people and even the emerging. I can't even place you in the mid-career. I will say you are still in the emerging state. But we also had very fresh graduates to ask this question, because somewhere people like us and very senior people, they eventually found this art of balancing work and life. And I'm sure you are in that stage, or probably you have also crossed that stage of finding your mantra. Let me ask you very simple question. You must be aware, for women, we carry this superwoman hat. Right now I have a red hat. But we tend to carry this superwoman hat where we want to do everything perfect at home, with family, with profession, and also try to find somewhere our passion to be carried out. There are very few lucky women who have really had the chance to have their passion and profession put together, and that makes their life very enjoyable. I had that privilege all my life. Not a single day in my life I have regretted what I do. I would like to know from you, how are you really putting your passion, profession, family, social obligation, and yet trying to find a way, find your identity, find your passion? What's have you cracked the mantra, or you are still juggling, you are trying to find? How are you doing it, or you have just given it away? Okay, jo hoga hoga. What's your take? Do you believe in that superwoman syndrome we all carry? I carried it in my early age and I gave it away. So, Tanya, I don't hear you. No? Do you hear her, Parul?
No, I can't.
Oh, that's okay. Maybe you can take out the thing. Let's see.
Am I audible?
Now
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
audible. Better.
Okay. Yeah, so wonderful question, Mansi. Like you were saying that you did at one point of time suffer from that superwoman syndrome. I also did, and surprisingly, it was during the early days of my
Yes.
education and my career. And the surprising part is that when I was just yet a student, I had all these notions. How I had everything planned, by what age I should be married, by what age I should be having kids, by what age I should be settled in my career. But
That's a
uh,
social construction we are given actually from family and
yes,
from people around.
yes. And surprisingly, the line that I had chosen, being in the legal profession, and along with that, academia, it has a very high gestation period.
Hmm.
You need to invest at least 8-10 years
Hmm.
basically to be able to find yourself a good
Hmm.
footing here in. So I was living in that sort of a dichotomy, I would say, for the longest period of time. But after when I hit my, I would say, mid 30s or somewhere around that, after that point of time, I stopped complaining, and somehow I reconciled with the situation. And that was the time when as you were saying, that I was like, whatever will be. And so far as my passion for my career is concerned, I have been a careerist. I will not deny that. I mean,
Hmm.
for me, the greatest satisfaction in my life actually comes from career.
Hmm.
So, that is something I could not take a step back from. And, this is how it is. And I see, in my career path, I did see, certain challenges coming, certain health issues also at times, cropping
Hmm.
up. But I had made a promise to myself that I will always stay consistent, and I will always stay committed to this path. And
Hmm.
finally, now, since past 2-3 years, I mean, I am finding the career path that I have chosen to be rewarding.
Interesting. Where are you staying right this moment, Parul?
So, Mansi, I would choose the second option that you have said.
Yeah.
I flow like a water. Okay. So,
Okay.
how water flows, I also flowed. So,
Hmm.
after my 12th, as I said, I have chosen aquaculture and environment as a subject. I
Hmm.
decided at that point only that I would be going into research. ahead, but I don't know how. What is the roadmap to it? But I decided I would go. And slowly, people helped me. I have been very fortunate enough into
Mm,
this sector that I have had a lot of people. And also, as Dr. Tanya said, I was always been very passionate about my work.
mm.
So passion and the support of people like around me, my family, my friends, especially teachers, they have always helped me. And according to my personal life, has been a lot of change this year. I got married in
Wow,
Hyderabad.
congratulations.
Thank you. So my in-laws also have been very supportive to me. They are still like that, and I have again joined, water sector, as I said, SACIWaters. So I'm again into the water sector, and really, very much fortunate in this sector that I have always felt like water is there within me, outside me. How water is flowing, I am also flowing with that.
Interesting, very interesting. And let me tell you, Jyoti is going to be soon on this platform. She has been a very good collaborator with W4W series on biodiversity, where you were also part of it and in live conversation. And yes, so yes, it's good to see that one is flowing and one is trying to find a way out there. And that's also the beauty to have both of you from a very diverse field. I mean, last week also I had people from from different fields, but they had a convergence in terms of field in work. But in your case, it's completely different field, and that is also how life of women, whether you are in this field of biodiversity or in law, there is something beyond, which is a part of society, which is where we are just as women, and we have certain things to take in mind, and also certain aspirations to reach somewhere. I just want to know from you now, moving to the next section of questions on your ideas of leadership and how it is the in your sectors, the presence of women. Because when I talk about water in general, we find the presence of women is very meager. Even though I am sitting with a very huge repository of women practitioners and academia researchers in water sector, but global standard tells 1 in 5 water professional is women. In India, even it is less than 1 in 10. But it is also because the how we look at women in the water sector. So maybe in that definition, both Tanya and Parul may not fit into calling themselves as fitting in the water sector. Maybe that is also the reason why women are not that much visible. But I recall recently the Honorable Chief Justice of India talking about women and gender even in the judiciary. It's a real minority. So now when we're talking about an intersection of judiciary and water, how it is, Tanya, and I know at least in environment and biodiversity, women have very, very strong hold as in percentage of numbers. So in both case, I would like to know from you, where does women stand at this point in time in profession, in your let's say we call it sub profession or parallel profession. Where do you think we are right now?
Mansi, as I was saying, law basically gives you many options. I am in
Hmm.
legal academics, and
Hmm.
so far as representation of women in legal academics is concerned, it is quite good. At
Hmm.
one point of time, if we go back around 20 to 25 years back, then I
Hmm.
would say that it was a male-dominated bastion, but
Hmm.
things have changed now. In the
Hmm.
last 20 25 years, many women, law has become an acceptable profession for parents, for society in general, for women. So the
Hmm.
representation
Hmm.
is improving, at least in academia.
Hmm.
If I
Okay.
speak about judicial services, in that also, with time the representation had improved. But as you were quoting CJI, that more representation is required. For that, I think they need to rethink again, because very recently they have brought in a 3-year practice rule for women. And when I interact with my LLM students, many of my students have told me that because of this 3-year requirement, as I was saying, because this is the time period when everyone is on a clock. to get married, to settle down, to have
Yes.
children, and all these things. 3 years is too much of a time. They feel that they would be then, in practice and in instability. So this is, in a way, it is taking them away from judicial services. It is happening because I am seeing
Hmm.
it on ground.
Very interesting. And also, we are going to have first Chief Justice, woman Chief Justice, if everything goes on as planned. Justice Nagarthana in 2028, and that too with the shortest span of being CGI for 36 days. I mean, I wrote an article about it, and that's a good sign as transition, but it is also quite embarrassing that India will have after 80 years. But we talk about law some other day, and I would like to hear from Parul what's going on in the biodiversity area.
Yeah, so in the sector of biodiversity and academia point of view, I would say yes, situation is getting better and we are having more representation from females as well in the sector of ecology, which is not so easy and which is not so mainstream, but still gender mainstreaming is happening in that sector as well. Yes, it is not that situated and equal as the
Mhm.
other representation of gender is there. But as far as the current scenario is concerned, yes, we are seeing females also as ecologists. They are working in the ecology field. They are going to the fields actually representing the other gender. And also as far as gender mainstreaming is concerned, not just in academia or in the professional aspect, in social development also we have seen females have played a very big role. They are already playing the responsibility of conserving water, but
Mm,
the kind of job or the kind of title they should be given, they are not given that. If we
mm.
talk about rural development and rural sector as well, they are doing a lot of job. They are doing 70% or more than 70% of rural development work. But at the same time, if we see their sake and their ownership, the ownership is quite
Yeah,
less than
agency
20.
is missing. Mm.
Yeah, so that ownership is required, that mainstreaming is required, and yes, there is a lot more time that is going to be there, because one of the report from Global Economic Forum that still says that there is more than 100 years that requires gender
Oh,
mainstreaming in our
in
country.
India or in globally?
In India, they actually, divide region-specific countries. So in India's
Mhm.
perspective, it is going to be like more than 100 years. I am saying it in an easy perspective. They said 170 years, and every year it is getting better. The situation is getting better. So hopefully,
Absolutely.
there is requirement of women representation.
Okay, that's very good to hear. But I also want to bring up an issue on women leadership after this question, which is a natural progression. And I want to start with the political leadership, because last week I had a publication. Because from independence time, we started with 4% representation in the parliament. We have barely arrived to 13%. And there is still a debate going on whether to have reservation of 33% or not. And in global average, just to add on to what Parul was saying, actually we stand 152 among 185 countries in terms of women leadership in politics, where Rwanda is leading the world in women politics. And now we are seeing in many countries, I mean, one of my favorite political leader around the world, she just won in Ireland as the new president, and an independent candidate, no political party. But anyway, we keep the politics aside. We talk about the leadership in your sector. As leadership is a gender neutral position, but somehow, because we are so much aggressively cementing the idea of patriarchy in the society, we are also in a situation where we have naturally leader means a man. Slowly, we are doing the, breaking the glass ceiling situation. But still we are far from there, and I actually disagree with you, Parul, to that point, that 170 years. I made a calculation for in the politics we will require more than 500 years to even achieve 33% in parliament, you know. And I mean, I am dreaming of 50% in parliament in my lifetime. So I'm a dreamer, maybe a naive. What it is in your sector, how do you see, I mean, again I'm pulling Justice Nagarthana example, but you are right, Tanya, you are in academia and where women have much better and solid place. Even then, I remember I wrote a paper some years ago, 3-4 years ago, and I pulled out all the university directors, vice chancellors. We are not even 1% in the country. HODs maybe 10% in the country, head of the departments. I call them as leadership. How is it in both of your cases? I mean, it's okay to have male members in the leadership, there's no problem, but then will women even find a way there? And how much time will it take? Or what is the situation in your sectors? Maybe you can throw some light on this, and then also attach to it, why are we there, or why, how could we make it there, or why are we unable to make it there? Because I'm leaving it open for you to hear from you, because I don't know what's going on in both of your fields. Taniya.
Okay, Mansi. Yeah, Mansi, I'll give you a very candid response to what I have observed so far in the institutions that I have been to. So I have a mix of, public as well as,
Okay.
private universities. I have been to these places.
Hmm.
And as you were saying that,
Yes.
when it comes to leadership role, there is actually, you will see that men are preferred. The reasons we will investigate later, but
Even women prefer men.
yeah, in a way, and I will, talk about certain gender biases also there. But before I talk about that, in academia itself, if you go to IITs, IIMs, or other, universities that are a very good brand name, therein, you will basically see the presence of male faculty more compared to women. You go to the rest of the average private universities, therein you will find a parity, but when it comes to the most prestigious of the institutions of the country, you will find whether it is the IITs or IIMs or any other institution of national importance and institution of eminence, you will find more male faculty there. In fact, I have been a faculty member at one of the IIMs, and we used to laugh during our lunch session and say that they should actually name it Indian Institute of Men, because that is the kind of skewed proportion of
Yes.
women that we found in that particular institution. So that is surprising. And then I'll say this, when we speak about women in leadership roles, there are certain very set stereotypes that are there, that they don't manage the things well, or the power goes to their head way too soon. Some of these notions, they basically still prevail in academia, so that is a disadvantage. But so far as getting the opportunity to be able to sit in these leadership roles, in that also I have seen that the manner in which men network, especially in my legal profession, is very different from the way in which women can network. And women actually, networking is very limited amongst women for higher positions. So that is also becoming an impediment for the women to basically be able to considered for these positions, because they are not able to network in the right circles. Maybe they don't have those beer buddies, or people that they can casually interact with. Certain societal inhibitions at times are there with the women. So these are certain impediments. It's not because of merit, because of lack of merit, or
Oh,
lack
by
of skill or
merit, we have
something.
no, no doubt. So, but there are certain things around. Yes, yes.
So I have observed these things in all the institutions, that I have been there so far.
Oh,
Fortunately,
go ahead,
in
go ahead.
my legal academia, I see more, uh, the management institutions will come after me, but I see more inclusivity in legal academia. I feel more comfortable in core legal academia than I ever felt at any of the management institutions.
Very
That's
well
what I
put. And I just want to bring forth again from my own publication recently, which I presented on politics, but then I also brought forth the IITs and IIMs, dragged them into the conversation, because we had first IIT director appointed, even not in India, by the way, IIT Madras, Janjivar, in 2023. Dr. Preeti Aghalayam, if I am pronouncing her name rightly. And IIM so far has barely managed to have only two women director, Dr. Neelu Rohumehtra and Dr. Anju Seth. so far. Huh? So in a country where we are talking about women leadership and we are teaching so many things now in the whole feminist movements, the leading institutions, you are so right, they are still lagging behind. And then you start pulling out central universities and blah blah, all universities, and that's what I did an exercise 3-4 years ago to really see. Actually, when I took up Wiki Water Resource Council, I was looking through all of this because it was a huge responsibility for me to take up this council presidentship and start working on it. And barely in 4 years, I have managed to gather only 100 women professionals from across the country. And probably I'm hoping you are going to join, but I will have this question later. Parul, how is it in your sector?
Yeah. So talking about academia, science, and ecology, there actually is, as Dr. Tanya has been saying, that we don't really see that much of disparity in terms of males and females. But yes, when it comes to giving the positions and top management positions, especially, I would say there has always been a special case when it comes to women. Uh, the main getting these position has been really generalized, but when we talk about female in the top positions and top management, there is always a lot of talks, a lot of debates whether they should be given or not. And even if there is anything which is not in favor of them, they always mention this thing that, oh, she's a female, that's why, and the end of the topic.
Yes, it's like road accident, Not
Yeah,
even
yeah.
1% road accidents are happening by women in India, but still,
Yeah.
she was a woman driving,
Exactly, and also there is some data that says the safer drivers are women in general. Globally,
Yeah,
we say,
proportionately, yes.
yeah, they are the more safer ones. So
Because
when
it
we
is naturalized. You
exactly,
really put a very important word here that it is generalized, which we call as naturalization of patriarchy.
exactly.
You know?
So that's what I have heard or I have observed during my years in academia, that this position has been given to female, but with some notions and with some disclaimers that, okay, she's a female, so this is what we can expect
Like
from.
tokenism, and also sometimes now tokenism is happening, huh? Woman power badhana hai, so you just add more women.
Exactly. And also the gender equality term has been quoted very negatively. When
Yes,
we say about equality, it's not about getting equal positions, but also about getting equal opportunities.
yes.
We just want that everyone should be over there. And it's not just about, gender roles. It's also about their specialization, how they're managing the positions. That's what matters. And I think, as you have said, that it's not just 170 years, it is going to be more, because I always feel disappointed when I see these data as they are saying these many years is going to be, taken by the country India, and these many years will be taken if we are talking about gender equality. So as a female, as a woman working in water sector, I really feel that we should be waiting, and we should be, have to wait a lot when it comes to gender equality. But yes, if we are talking about the politics, if we are talking about academia, there is a lot more things to do, and we have to wait for that now.
Interesting. I mean, I have few disagreements sometimes. I'm seeing with Parul because with her idea of submission, I think we have to work instead of we have to wait. And this whole series on Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water is an effort really to highlight some of the works which women are doing. And let me tell you, it has not been easy to organize these sessions, because one of the things which I identified from my literature review and my own experience, to have 80 sessions, I may have reached out to actually 800 women. So there is also something which we have to understand, that women themselves are also not seeing their role in the leadership. And the fact that they do not see the importance of these kind of conversations, how will anyone know that Taniya is doing this? Of course, she's publishing. Parul is doing this. Of course, she's publishing in her own domain. It's like a well. So going out and talking about it, many times women shun this idea, oh, I don't want to promote myself. But it is not about promotion, it's about sharing, it's about telling people this, telling your views. And I think by women not accepting this kind of conversations, I feel it's a disservice to the society, because unless and until the younger generation, both male and female, they don't see people that this is possible to do. This is a woman who is director, who is the head of the department, who is a professor. More and more women will think that it is not possible, and more men will think that it is not possible to have women, because the fact is that for women to reach the top of the ladder, it is actually a longer path than a man, and then one mistake by a woman is not seen in the same light as 100 mistakes by men. So this is, I mean, I talk about this also for gender, for generation as well, because I'm just writing an article with a young guy on the feministic values of intersection, because the same is done with generation. So we also have a generation problem where youth is not represented very well in the society in terms of decision making. So just to understand from you, if you are talking about leadership, because you also mentioned about having more people in water sector, that is also very clear, because leadership is gender neutral, but at the same time, you need to have a mass at the base of the pyramid, But if you have a mass at the pyramid, and then there is also, of course, you have to rise the ladder of success. I mean, there is also something which women also discuss a lot about success, and they also question many a times why successful is so important and what is success, because success itself is masculine to that extent. But if we see from the history, there has been always injustice to women in terms of giving them due recognition, and those things have piled upon, and then that is why we are not even seeing women coming to the top. From the biggest of the male name, from Nobel laureates to artists to scientists, we have seen, to architects. I know many architects because I'm doing the similar session with women in architecture. I know that many from my field, which is my background, have the same situation, that women go unnoticed. But women themselves are also not realizing the importance of being in the leadership. What is leadership? Can we redefine leadership? If it is masculine, are women sitting together and redefining? Are we willing to work, or we are going to wait and see that something will change in my lifetime, because everyone has to do their job? So in your opinion, who is a good leader? Let's keep the gender aside. What do you think? What are the good characteristics of a good leader? Maybe you can name some of them from your field or not from your fields, who you really consider leader. I mean, I would have really loved to see Vandana Shiva as the Prime Minister of my country, Sunita Narayan as the President of my country, Medha Patkar as the Prime Minister of my country. But they are not walking that path, or they are not even having that opportunity to walk that path. I will say, I don't know whether they are not thinking about it or not. I have no clue. But I know that Medha Patkar did run for election, and she was terribly failed by the society. We see some of the most educated people, like in Delhi also, you had Atishi, who lost for the first time, an Oxford graduate. So what are the things that people are looking in leadership, and what are the specific things that Taniya and Parul are looking in a leadership? In what characteristics? Are those characteristics natural in a person? Because certain things are natural, And can those, some of the skills can be upskilled amongst women? I'm asking this question to see if there are a lot of women leadership programs which are tokenism many of the times, but there may be some skills which we can train, and some skills come naturally. What's your take on this, Tanya?
Okay, Mansi, so far as if you ask me personally who I think is a good leader, I would say somebody who's able to inspire, people, who's able to motivate them. For me personally, it would be a social cause.
Hmm.
So if I talk about, you were asking whether if there is any particular leader that I have liked in our country or otherwise. Sorry to say, but I have a very male response to that.
No problem.
uh, I would say Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Barack
Hmm.
Obama. These two
Okay.
personalities are the ones who have inspired me. You look at their very humble beginnings, and from there they traveled to the highest of the corridors. And what was essentially inherent in their personalities was they believed in a vision. They believed in a vision, and slowly, even though that vision was not something that everyone envisioned, but that their vision was basically something that propelled them, and ultimately they did prevail in their own light,
Hmm.
whatsoever their vision was. So I think persistence is needed, commitment to the cause is needed. So for example, B.R. Ambedkar, his whole life he basically fought against casteism that was existing in the country. So you have someone from such humble beginnings, a person who was not even allowed to sit with the upper castes when he was a school boy. So from there he goes on to become the first law minister of
Absolutely.
India, and went on to draft the constitution for the country. So his life, it actually inspires me. It I have a lot of empathy for such a kind of personality, I would say. Amongst women, as a solid leader, I would say Indira Gandhi was something, she was far ahead of her times. Many of
Absolutely.
her means, many of her political, maneuvers, I might not agree with as a constitutional
Yes.
law scholar. But definitely, so far as taking on the challenges was concerned, there was no stepping back for that lady. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it is absolutely fine if we have our mentors, inspiration in the male leaders, because actually leadership is a gender neutral position. It is unfortunate that the role of women in their contribution when the male made their names is not so well inked. And I want to give example with all due respect to Baba Saheb Ambedkar, that many of us, we don't even know the name of those 25 women who actually literally wrote the constitution, who made the graphics of the constitution. And I have that list with me, and that does not reduce the contribution of Baba Saheb, but it is just that because they were not highlighted, we don't even know even one name. So just to keep it keep it there and come to Parul. So there has been always over time, like in freedom fighting, we don't have many, but we are talking in leadership beyond politics as well. But I love to talk politics sometimes, but our idea of leadership is also very limited to political leadership as well. But personally I am keen, but we are also talking about sector specialist leaderships. Parul.
So, talking about sector specialization, in my journey of profession, I have met a lot of people, especially if I say about rural sector in our country. I have seen female doing their
Oh
work
yes.
unchecked, unnoticed, and they are doing it without understanding the importance of their work. Talking about a few females, I would name. I met personally one female from Uttarakhand, Champavat. Her name is popularly known as Vanamma. Why
Hmm.
so? Because she has conserved an entire forest. There was case of poachers. They were not really handled by even the forest department. But then there was this lady who handled the entire forest by herself, and then she recognized by the local panchayat and the administration of the state. And that's when this lady Vanamma got popularized, and she took her entire life into this sector. She conserved it without knowing the fact that she was doing it for a large scale people. And there are so many ladies, because when I met her personally, she's now an old lady. The kind of charm that she was having in her eyes, and when she was speaking about conservation, she was so thrilled that I am doing it, and I want now these young women to do it. And she told me as well that you are a young person, you can do, you have a lot of potential. So at our personal capacity, individual capacity, we can do a lot. One example from Karnataka, Tulsi Goda, who got
Yes,
Padma
I
Shri
was about
also.
to say, yes, the
Yeah,
fourth
yeah, yeah.
mother of India.
Yeah. One more example from Tamil Nadu, Pappamal. She also
Yes,
consumed so many forests. So these are the ladies who are working in the forest area, not so much educated, and they are not into mainstream channel that they understand the importance of their work, but they are still doing it.
yes,
We now need to have such kind of nexus of people where we can give them recognition, and the kind of work they are doing, we just need their recognition as well, because already female are working in our sectors.
yes, you nailed
We
it
just
now.
need to give them the recognition, right, kind of.
Absolutely, you nailed it. And I would like to bring forth here which was the genesis also to start working on this serial, because we also want to come up with a little book here. And due respect to the Ministry of Jal Shakti, CV, and UNDP, they prepared a compendium of rural women water champions, and they really felicitated these more than 70 women across the country. And actually that compendium gave me an idea to what about those women, professional women. So I'm focusing more on the professional leadership, not political, not rural also, but people who have really gained, I should not use the word university degree, but gained some specialization in certain sectors, and whether they are really recognized or not. So we are really hoping that people are listening to our conversations. We are going to stop at 100. By the way, you are 91st session now. So closing very soon. But at least these women will be known to people across the world. These women will also be having, I mean, of course, you have a vast body of work behind you, but at the same time, it is also good to see the human side of you, because leadership is also about the human side, because if you have empathy, if you have, inclusiveness, you have used these words, if you have the vision, how will people know from your publications? How will people know whether you are, even if you're going every day to office or not? Not reducing that value, that is extremely important, but there is certain things which are additional to leadership. What I found from my initial literature review and work is that, as you mentioned, the forest mother Tulsi Gaura and many more women, and especially when I look at the two important women in my list, Sunita Narayan and Vandana Shiva, the major difference is that one, a set of women who have documented and disseminated their work and thought, they get the recognition which they deserve, and the others did not really realize the importance of documentation and dissemination, and did not also have the tools and means and medium, and the support to do that. And we came to know about Tulsi Amma much later in her career, when she had almost struggled her entire life out in doing that, and after she got the Padma Shri, by the way. Before that, we were hardly knowing her. So somewhere, women who are in the professional field, and this is through you I want to convey, it is extremely important that all of us really document and disseminate what we do. Either you do it yourself or you hire somebody. It is worth an investment, not only for you, but as I said, it is a service to the future generation. Other girls should come to know that it is possible to walk this path, it is possible to rise, it is possible to question. So I just want to understand from you then, what do you think this role of these kind of associations? You may be part of some association, some network from your field, some council from your field, um, professional field, personal field, I don't know, your hobby field. Do you think these kind of platforms can be also a useful tool or way to really not only share what you think, what you can offer, but at the same time gain something out of it, and also increase, for your own upskilling? Uh, do you have any such network where you are engaging with people, where you are offering and where you are giving and getting? What's your take? Because I want to announce the Wiki Water Resource Council after you have spoken. Yeah.
Okay, so Mansi, the best platform that I have come so far is actually yours, W for W. Right.
Oh, thank you.
One of the some of the best. Parul is a dear friend. You are a dear friend. Some of the best motivated professionals who are also women. I have actually come in close contact through your network. And let
Okay.
me reiterate, there is a lot of value of such engagements, because otherwise we become like islands. Our
Mm,
professional my profession is going to take me to faculty development programs and to conferences in these places. But if I want to remain engaged with the water sector, these are the best platforms that give us space to talk about the issues that are there. And especially the kind of inclusivity that I find in there is not just about interacting with women, it is also interacting with women who are coming from diverse background, who are
yes.
of all ages,
who are coming from diverse regions, and also with respect to the other members there, the ones who are men. So it's a we need such platforms actually, because this is how the dialogue basically starts. This is how it gives us ideas to basically work upon those things. And I think it is most essential, most essential.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this motivation, because we are surviving because of such motivations also. And I strongly believe that unless and until we are going transdisciplinary or interdisciplinary, we have no way out. Otherwise, what you call as island, I call it a well. So, again, we have this language difference, but then it is extremely important. And you were there, both of you were there as part of the water festival, which we recently conducted. We had from artists to activists to politicians to ministries to even IPS officers and IS officer in our session who were talking about only one thing, which was water. And that's important to find a common thread and start having the conversation. We strongly believe that it is important. At Wiki Water Resource Council, which is, as I said, it is nearly 6 years now. Actually, my term is coming to an end. I'm super happy about it in December. And I'm hoping for a new leadership with new vision. We have really tried to become the voice to amplify the work which all of you are doing. That's the whole idea, and remain like that invisible thread which is trying to highlight every beads or every pearl in that necklace. And that's the role we are trying to play. And that is personally also, as a human, I feel that's also the role of leadership, to really highlight everybody's work, appreciate everybody's work, bring them to everywhere. And I have actually grown past the age of doing my career business. I think I'm almost past that. This is all like work of for me as a sannyasi. But Parul, how is it with you? What kind of networks you are there? We are running biodiversity series with Jayati, with SACIWaters.
Yeah, I have heard a long time back about this series because I have associated with Vipin Vyas sir and Jayati ma'am for long. They have been speaking about this thing and I've also spoken to you that we'll be having one session, but it was a long pending
It
session,
is still pending. Yes.
so hopefully in future we'll be doing it soon.
But
So
we
yeah,
had you live at IIT BHU, so that was nice.
yeah. So yes, as you mentioned about the networks, I have been with WWF as a volunteer. I was working there, and I've also had my own laboratory people. We have had a good network. Internationally, we have. I was joined with one group which was working in water sector. But as Dr. Tania said, yours group is the only one which actually connects all the water people together, and it is one of the very unique group that actually takes us to the people of different kind of disciplines, and we all are merging together in the form of water. So really commendable job that you have done, and you are yourself is an inspiration to us, and we always look forward to this kind of fest that you conduct. And I feel so happy that you are saying that next year hopefully we'll be having one more fest. We recently had one, enjoyed a lot, and had a lot of great gathering and met very good people, actually not male or female, but very good people, taking their notes and understanding how they are imbibed themselves into the water sector. It actually makes us feel so good that we have such kind of network in our country where we can actually speak with people, understand their work, and get connected to each other. So yes, I'm looking forward to how we can contribute. We too can contribute because we have a very good understanding. And thanks to Waterfest in Ahmedabad, I met Tanya. Tanya was my roommate there. We
Yes.
are very good friends now. So
That's
thanks
the
to
whole idea. Water connects,
yeah, we are connected so well. I can't tell you. We are very good friends. So thanks to you for connecting me to her and to many people in the
Oh,
sector of water.
yeah. Thank you. By the way, this session is not meant to promote me or the work which we do, but there has been a genuine attempt to connect people. And especially, I'm personally looking after who is going to stay with whom and all those things, but that's just the festival part. But I think it is extremely important that we get the right connections, not only to work in our own direction, but also sometimes you need motivation, you need mentorship. You may be required as a mentor. you know. That's also extremely important, because there is no point walking this path alone. And I sometimes feel that what we are doing at W4W or Wiki Water Resource Council should be done by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. And honestly, I really want them to adopt the whole event and whole initiative from us and just free me from this whole activity. Of course I will continue doing, but then there will be more validation if they take it up from us, you know. And just because this is dedicated to the country, this is dedicated to the people who work in the water sector. And by no means I would really like to take any credit out of it. There's a huge team behind who work for us. I'm just the face, and somehow the face becomes always the thing, just like the way we have seen men in the all sectors, and then women go unnoticed. And I would like to take this opportunity also to thank the entire team who works behind what we present to all of you here. Wiki Water Resource Council is going to have another round of nominations. We will send the nominations, and I hope you do join them. And we have more than 100 women, as I said, and also some men who thinks that women leadership is crucial. They have joined us as mentors, and they are constantly supporting. By the way, they are helping me to do things and all, guiding me to do certain things in certain ways. So yes, we do need mentors while we talk about mentoring also in Wiki Water Resource Council. And that brings me to the last question, very simple questions to both of you, and that will also become the 1 minute snippet from both of you. And the question is in two parts, so you can take 2 minutes each. It's about mentoring, and I would like to know from you, addressing to the youth of tomorrow who will be in this sector or who are joining this sector, what will be your message to the youth? Importantly, two ways: why they should join the field around water, what is there for them, should they join, should they not join, depending on your experience, water in law, water in biodiversity, or biodiversity and water. And the second part of the question is, you can take a pause when I'm talking so that you can start thinking. The second part of the question, again conveying to the youth, is what simple behavioral change everyone should bring. And when I'm saying youth, I am not mentioning any gender, it's for everyone, for future. What simple behavioral change we all need to bring so that we slowly start engendering our sectors, engendering our disciplines, to actually move towards having equal gender opportunities. What are the simple behavioral change? We can start again with Tanya. Over to you, Tanya.
Yeah, Mansi, I lost the trail. What was the first question?
The first question is
So
message
specific
to the
segments.
youth on, yeah, and youth, and why they should join the water sector and around water issues. It can be law, it can be, in my case, architecture planning, it can be biodiversity. And second is, of course, the small behavioral change to really make the workplace or living around women leadership a more easy work, or we call it engendering the water sector.
So, my message to the youth is, especially the ones who are, expertising in the legal sector. So
Hmm.
them, I would say that water sector also, or water legal issues basically are very pertinent issues that are regularly litigated in the courts in the country. Fortunately, since 2010, we have the National Green Tribunal, and this is the tribunal which is taking up specialized cases on environmental issues. And water is no isolated this thing when we isolated sector when we speak about environmental issues. So that is one very good opportunity that is there to litigate on water issues and bring about effective change in the society, because there's so many landmark decisions, MC Mehta line of litigation, they were all dealing with, most of them were dealing with water pollution issues. So, it is passion combined with opportunity. So this is a great area. With respect to the new ESG and, the corporate side, I think Parul would be better to answer them. But in that sector also, with respect to framing of public policy and for compliance and for all these, things, I do see future for the, group there. And so far as, one message to them is be committed to the profession. Don't see it, when we talk about nature issues, environmental or ecological issues, it's not, having a very sort of material approach, if I can be at liberty to use that word, would not be productive, because you have to see it in a spiritual sense, in a holistic sense. uh, Environment in general or nature in general, it just attracts me. I feel at peace when I sit next to a river, or or I sit at a beach. It is something, that is naturally there with me. And I would say that that is what gives me the ability to write on these issues, to raise these issues, and to fight for these issues. One of the issues is river personhood. I staunchly, advocate for this kind of an, issue and recognition. So, you require that passion, you require that commitment. Don't see it as just a material opportunity to exploit, though, because then you will not find satisfaction in the thing. And so far as, behavioral changes are concerned, that I think both for men and women, I would, say this generally in the profession. We see that, men might not be very open to the woman's perspective, but women also at times, they construct walls around them, and are not very encouraging of women. These tendencies I have seen. So this is something that needs to be addressed. Even in academia, I've observed that. So, if they can stay more inclusive, more sensitive to such scenarios, especially for the younger generation, so that will go a long way.
Wow. Yes, Parul, your closing remarks and answering the questions.
So, as you said, my message to the youth would be that if you are working in any sector, be it science, be it arts, be it legal, as Tanya is into, I would say water is such a subject. It is not subject specific, but it is behavior or feeling specific. Whatever work you are doing, water is a welcoming subject. So, if you are taking any kind of subject, consider water as a part of it. You youth, being from the school areas or from the college time, you have this capacity that you can make a lot of change. If a youth is changing, it has the power to change the entire family.
Absolutely.
Say that if you want to make any kind of change in your behavior or in your habits, I would say that you try to meet people, you try to have a group of yours. Why don't you go for cleanup drives? Why don't you go to any forest? Why don't you hang up at such places where you see rivers, where you see forest? There you will be able to understand the importance of water, and that's when you can understand and imbibe in yourself the importance of water. And I think youth has a lot of capacity. I know, because I have been through that part, and I have had WWF as a volunteer that I have joined. We have met there. Usually my some of my friends used to ask me, where do you hang out, where do you go for weekends? I say I used to meet my WWF friends. So make such kind of groups where you can actually work upon it, and you have a lot of capacity, my dear friends.
Nice. And you must be knowing that Hyderabad is organizing regular lake cleanups, huh? So in case you know, so you may like to join that. Okay, we can go on this conversation, but there has to be a closure at some point in time, and it's a good time to close because you have had your message to the younger generation. Thank you so much, Tanya and Parul, for this enlightening interaction. I really felt the conversation was flowing like water, and I thus enjoyed it. And I'm always enjoying 90 plus sessions now in a Monday. But all put together, we are over 400 sessions now at W for W. I hope you also felt the same and enjoyed this conversation as I had promised to you. May you remain an inspiration to others, and we are very grateful to have learned an ounce of your work, an ounce of your thoughts. We cannot do everything in 1 hour, but I hope that you continue your water activities and around it and keep us posted about it. We shall also continue here at Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, trying to actually be here at every Monday 5 p.m. which is sometimes not possible because we don't get appointments. I hope people are listening to me and they're agreeing to talk about water, and we are not limiting to discussing only with women. We also invite men to talk about it. In fact, many people have suggested me, why not have men in water and have this conversation and around masculinity and femininity. Probably after we close at 100, we'll think about it. But we look forward to learning more and more about the gender issues and the women issues in the water sector and move beyond to talking about women leadership. Do keep following us at our social media platform of WQWRC or Water Resources Council. For now, thank you so much, both Parul and Tanya, and thanks for everyone to watch us. And also, I hope that you will consider this matter as serious as we do at Wiki Water Resource Council and W4W Foundation. Thanks, both of you girls. Please take care and we stay connected. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for having us. Lovely to meet you and have this conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.